I'm going to play you both anyway.
All right, well, let's go
what
with
do you think the best way?
Chronological, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think going first.
Because you were with me yesterday, and you knew this drove me crazy in the moment when Poles... Look, I love that Poles gives Joniak his time. He doesn't have to do it. Every week on the pregame show, Poles sits down with Joniak.
I don't know. Do other GMs around the league do a weekly show with the play-by-play guy?
I don't think all of them.
So.
That's no, but and he does, but he's got to get off of this stuff. And this sounds really bad now in retrospect. This was after the Commanders game, leading into the Arizona game. And remember, the Arizona game was probably the first sign that there was something really wrong with this team.
Well, they got trucked.
Yes, because even though they lost the Commanders game, we thought, okay, go to Arizona and go win, go respond.
Yeah, show us that you're this horribly dramatic loss isn't going to fracture your team.
And this was Ryan Poles, who's supposed to have his finger on the pulse of his team, talking to Jeff Joniak. Sounds worse now, but it's an example of, again, how he's always talking about great practices. Take a listen.
It was important for this team to gather itself, reflect on the tape and get back to preparation for Arizona because it's important to not let one loss, leak into the next week. So I loved how the team responded, how they practiced this week. It was very focused. The precision was there. So I'm excited to see them play.
It felt like a different week here at Hallis Hall. Was it?
It really wasn't. I mean, obviously the beginning of the week, we were working through some things. But once we got back out to the practice field, everyone was locked in. They were together. They were aligned. Communication was really good. And, again, I like the way that we practiced this week in our preparation and in the mindset of our players.
Yeah, there is always this discussion of how you win or how you lose a game impacts, how you feel about it. And I guess there is a sense to that you could agree with. But the vibe that was created by that 3-game winning streak was invigorating. It was captivating. And one game or even one snap can't break that growth, right?
Yeah. The culture, the people, both – really just in this entire organization, they're not the ones that are going to let something like that, crack the foundation. Everyone rebounded really well, got positive as the week started. So we're in a good place.
Do you know how bad that sounds now? And I get it. He had to put on a positive spin then. But 7 games later, they've lost 7 in a row. 6 games later at that point. They got trucked, like you said, to Arizona, who we thought at that time they were better than. He's in complete denial, saying that it didn't feel like a different week, when now the reporting tells you that one loss in the Commanders game broke this team. And he talked then about the culture. No one would be broken. No one's spirit. They continue to practice hard. So you think after a few losses in a row of hearing that he's going to understand he can't keep going to the microphone or the podium selling us on this great culture and these great practices.
Fabulous practice.
So they make the change to Thomas Brown. They've lost 6 in a row. They're going on the road against San Francisco, much like how they were going on the road to Arizona. They're getting good timing with the 49ers after they got beat by a combined 53 points in the last 2 games. So this is what Ryan Poles, after he sold us on that in the Arizona game, talked about. And at first he did some self-reflecting, listen to Joniak's question, and then listen to the road he goes down, trying to sell us on the culture, the communication, and the practice habits again.
Any self-reflection on your part from what really has transpired since London?
Yeah, just kind of reflecting on where things, didn't go our way. Things that, I can do in the past as a general manager to identify issues faster. But also at the same time, I'm really fortunate that we have the type of guys that we have because, just being around this week, you can see the locker room stay close together. You can see the energy level get up. The guys are still enjoying playing and practicing together, and that's why I'm looking forward to the game today.
Moving on, for a team that has had a lot of near misses, with new direction being necessary, how have they responded in specifics, in your opinion, to Thomas Brown and all the subsequent moves and the rest of the staff and how everything is slotted now at the coordinator position and Chris Beatty?
Yeah, they've responded really well. You can see the energy at practice in the building when Thomas speaks in front of the team and team meetings to give his message in terms of keys to victory or how things are going to be different. You can hear a pin drop. Like, the guys are locked in, they're focused, they're listening to every word that he says. And he has a very special command of the room, and you can tell that the guys believe in him. So it's going to be really good to see him, and especially on game day, see how it goes.
Waddle, this is a man who's supposed to be connected, his word, to his football team. And he doesn't.
It's like he's talking about a different team than the one we watch on Sunday.
He doesn't have a first clue on what's really going on with his football team, and it's disturbing to me. He's either in denial, he's either not smart about it, or I don't know what the other answer could be. He said the same thing before Arizona. He's been talking about great practices every week. They laid an egg in Arizona. They've lost 7 in a row. He said the same thing yesterday. They laid an egg in San Francisco. Like you said, 4 yards at the half. And he continues to talk about this fake culture, this fake connection, this fake hard work.
Well, you'd have to be at this point. You're concerned that with regard to his evaluation skills, because if he looks at his team and he sees all these quality characteristics, then I don't know what he's looking at. He said this team came together. This group came out and had 4 total yards of offense and no points in the first half against the 49ers. And I said this before the break. That's not just scheme and execution. That's focus, that's effort, that's everything. You can't sell me on this team being good at practice, and these are really talented players, and then go out after you've gotten what you've wanted, which is a new coaching staff for the most part, come out and that's the effort you gave. And it's not just the offense. I don't want to let the defense off the hook. They were terrible. They got punched in the face in the opening drive. They were down 24-0 at the half. They were outgained 300+ to 4 yards.
That was supposed to be a top 5 defense.
That is after you got what you asked for and the removal of the head coach. So if you're evaluating your players and you've got all these positive things to say about this group and they come out and piddle down their leg, I don't know what that says about your ability to evaluate your own team, and I'd be concerned about the evaluation process of adding players to your organization.
And that's the point. Like, if that's how he evaluates their week-to-week ability to get out of a funk, and this is a man who already has not built the offensive line. He misevaluated the strength of his offensive line, won't draft a center, continues to let an offensive line patchwork together. He kept going with Velus Jones. He spent a 3rd-round pick on Velus Jones. He gave up a 2nd-round pick for Chase Claypool. He gave $30 million to Nate Davis. He doesn't seem to understand what he has and what he doesn't have.
He's misevaluated his own guys, and he's giving his own players a pass.
So, like, that's why now I'm out. And so what I've learned, and I know a couple other people, I found out this last week, that Matt Eberflus was given a 5-year deal. And this is everything that's wrong with the Bears, as we've learned. And Ryan Poles was given a 4-year deal. And what I was told was, and this is someone with firsthand knowledge on this.
What would be the explanation for
I have no clue. The same explanation is why the Bears do the Bear stuff. The other information that was interesting to me was one of the main reasons that Ryan Poles took the Bears job was because he liked the direct reporting nature to the team owner. It was very appetizing to him as a general manager to report directly to ownership. There was no buffer. If he had an issue, he can go right to George, right to ownership. And that when Kevin Warren was hired, he was frustrated with that from the start, that he never loved it. It was not a personal thing with Kevin, but it was something that he didn't like, that he went from reporting to the owner to now having to report to a team president who reports to the owner. There was a go-between. And he was very vocal about that to people he trusted inside the building, that maybe he never would have taken the job to begin with. So now with his not exactly building the team up like he should be, maybe with some of the trust gone of picking the right coach, and maybe with his trust of the organization and not being totally satisfied. This is a theory. This isn't a known thing. I wouldn't be shocked, again, if by the end of the year there's a mutual parting of the ways and they maybe do find a way to bring in a coach with his own general manager or player evaluation guy, because I just don't think this is in the spot that either side wanted this to be in from the jump.
Well, with all of the mistakes that we've highlighted that Ryan has made, there have been some positive moments as well, but there has been a long list of other things. And we talked about this a lot last week, the guys did. Like, look, your general manager should be the one hiring the coach. He's in charge of football decisions. And if Ryan Poles decides going through this process that Ben Johnson is the guy, guys, it's going to take $18 million a year. And he goes to George and he goes to Kevin Warren and he says, I'm not sure we're comfortable paying $18 million a year. Or he decides that Mike Vrabel is the right guy. And he goes to George and he goes to Kevin and said, Mike Vrabel's our guy. I've done the extensive search. And they go, I don't know if that personality will play in the building. At that point, Ryan Poles has got to ask himself, I understand there's only 32 of these, and I want to see this through because I drafted Caleb Williams, but is this the right spot for me? Because
if he doesn't get his guy, then he wants.
Like, well, how in the world can you be? You're the general manager. He should be the one hiring the coach, and he should sink or swim based on his decision. But if he's not even allowed to hire his own coach, then you're not really the general manager, and at some point they're going to come to get you anyway.
Well, what if the opposite happens, where Ben Johnson or Mike Vrabel or someone that they love, Kevin Warren loves, only will take the job if they bring their own personnel guy?
Yeah, then that is an option.
Is that also too where you part with Ryan?
That's definitely an option that the front office and the ownership group should consider. So absolutely,
we laid it out from the game to, again, the front office. And I think this is the bigger picture here, guys. If they want to stop this whole circle of suck that we've talked about, the quarterback not being matched up with the coach not being matched up with the general manager, different contracts being handed out. And then if Ryan Poles is kept and he gets to hire a new coach, but next year he's on the hot seat, not given an extension. And then in a year or two, you're searching for a new general manager with the newer coach and the newer quarterback. Now what? So what are you doing here? What are you doing? Are you searching for a coach, or are you searching for a general manager and a coach? 312-332-3776. It's a mess. It's a big mess, and it's been a mess here for a long, long time. This is not a new thing for the Bears. We'll get to your calls next.